Welcome back to my channel, Simplified English 101. If you are new to this channel, please remember, like this video, leave a comment. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel and ring that good old notification bell so that you can be informed when a new video is posted. In today's video, we are going to be looking at what equivalent sentences are and how to identify them in sentences for CXC. Let's begin. The word equivalent means to be equal to, having a similar or same meaning. An equivalent sentence is a sentence that expresses the same meaning as another sentence, which means that you are expected to find a sentence that has the same meaning and context based on the original, despite the differences in the structure of the sentence or the word choice or word order. In order to find an equivalent sentence, you are required to find a sentence, as stated before, that carries the same meaning. And this is what makes it equivalent. I want you to remember that you are not asked to change the sentence. You are not asked to rewrite the sentence in your own words. Your aim is to focus on the structure of the sentence, the word choice, the grammar, and even the context of both the original sentence and the equivalent sentence in order to select an answer. Remember also that equivalent sentences show you that when a structure of a sentence is changed, when the grammar is changed, when the word order is changed, then the meaning of the sentence can also change. As such, understanding the steps and following the steps is one of the easiest ways to identify the equivalent of an original sentence. Let us now look at the purpose of equivalent sentences. Being able to identify equivalent sentences is quite useful in both paraphrasing and critical thinking. When we think about paraphrasing, we automatically think of summary writing, which means that equivalent sentences is one of the tenets of understanding and doing summary writing. Your ability to identify equivalent sentences is also tested in the paper 1 of the CXC English A paper. While you might not always see equivalent sentences on your paper 1, the skills needed for summary writing are basically the same in identifying equivalent sentences. Let us now look at the steps that you need to follow when doing equivalent sentences. One very important step is to read the original sentence in order to understand the context of the sentence. Now, this is quite crucial because for you to find the equivalent of any sentence, you must first understand the context. Remember that the structure, the content, the word choice can change in the options given. And these changes can change the meaning of the sentence. And in finding the equivalent of an original sentence, it means that the context and meaning of the sentence must remain the same. Therefore, understanding the original sentence is crucial. Another step that you can use is learning how to paraphrase the original sentence. Remember that in paraphrasing, you are basically writing your own understanding of the sentence, but the context and meaning must remain the same. Remember also that when paraphrasing, the paraphrased sentence might sometimes be longer than the original sentence. When you paraphrase the original sentence, you are basically trying to get a better understanding of the original. And in paraphrasing, it makes it easier for you to find the equivalent of the original in the options given. Another step is to reread the original sentence and the answer you have selected. Listen while reading for any changes in grammar, the style, the logic, and even the fluidity. Look for keywords or phrases that would indicate the main idea in the original and the options given, a shift or a continuation, or any word or phrases that support certain ideas. Also, compare the original and the paraphrased sentence to the options given. Remember, you are looking for a sentence that carries the same meaning as the original despite the changes in the structure, the grammar, the style, and even the word choice and word order. Using the process of elimination is another step that you can use when doing equivalent sentences. By doing so, you eliminate options that could not possibly work. It means, therefore, that you must have first understood the original and you have looked for the main idea being presented in the original by looking at key words and phrases that are not represented in the options given. Remember that once the original meaning changes, then that option can be eliminated. Finally, the use of your vocabulary. This comes in handy when you are asked to look at words and phrases in the options given when compared to the original that might not be the same. Let us now look at an example of some equivalent sentences and how we apply these steps in identifying the equivalent of the original. The first sentence reads, if Michael would focus on his studies, his father's anxiety would lessen. The steps are highlighted at the bottom of the page in that white box. So we are going to be using these steps that were mentioned earlier to identify the equivalent of the original sentence. The original sentence reads, if Michael would focus on his studies, his father's anxiety would lessen. The first thing we're asked to do is to understand the original. In understanding the original, the step to paraphrase comes in handy. The original sentence claims that Michael's father is restless or worried, and this worry will decrease or reduce if Michael pays more attention to his studies. It is important that you understand not only the sentence, but also the main ideas expressed throughout by use of the words. Clearly, the sentence is about Michael and his studies and how his father feels about Michael's attitude to his studies. Now that we understand the context and we understand the paraphrased version of the original sentence, let us examine the options given. Again, we are going to reread. The sentence says, if Michael would focus on his studies, his father's anxieties would lessen. The original suggests that the only way Michael's father's anxiety would reduce is if Michael decides to focus on his studies. It means, therefore, that we are looking for a sentence that would be the equivalent of that original or the paraphrase version in the four options given below, A through to D. Option A reads, Michael's father will stop worrying when Michael focuses on his studies. A is automatically out or eliminated because of the use of the expression will stop worrying. This implies a totally different context from the original and suggests that Michael's father will actually stop worrying. The original suggested, though, that Michael's father's anxiety would lessen, would reduce. Clearly, Michael's father will never stop worrying based on the original, but his anxieties will reduce. For this reason, A would be out. B says, since Michael will not focus on his studies, his father's anxieties are lessening. B is also out because it says his father's anxieties are lessening, suggesting that at this moment, Michael's father's anxieties are reducing, suggesting that in the future, Michael's father will not be concerned. The original did not say that Michael's father's anxieties are lessening. It suggested that it would eventually. C reads, his father's anxieties will decrease once Michael focuses on his studies. Now, remember that paraphrased version that claimed that Michael's father is worried, and this worry will only reduce if Michael pays attention to his studies? Do we see any similarities in C and the original or our paraphrased version? Yes, we do. C suggests that his father's anxiety will decrease or lessen, using our synonyms, once Michael focuses on his studies. So C could be a possible option. Let us look at D. It reads, as his father's anxieties are growing, Michael is not able to focus on his studies. D is also not a viable option. This is because the original did not make any mention of his anxieties getting worse. Neither did it suggest that his father's anxieties contribute to Michael being unable to focus. All the options have changed the meaning of the original, whether based on a change in structure of the sentence, word order of the sentence, the grammar of the sentence, the use of the punctuation marks in the sentence. All the options except C have changed the meaning of the sentence. As such, the answer, the equivalent of the original sentence in this example, would be C. Let us look at another example. The sentence reads, money increases man's opportunities for happiness, but does not guarantee it. Now, of course, we are going to be following the steps that are highlighted in the bottom of the page in the white box to read the original and understand the context of the sentence. The sentence, the original sentence, says that money boosts or broaden or will improve our chances to be happy. But it is not a must. It isn't a guarantee. Clearly, the original sentence is suggesting that money can allow us as individuals to gain more opportunities to be happy, to find happiness. But having money does not guarantee that we will be happy. We are looking for a sentence that says that having money increases our chances of being happy, but it is not a guarantee. It is not set in stone. Option A reads, money does not guarantee happiness, but it increases the chance. Clearly, option A is similar or equivalent to the original sentence. This is because option A says that having money doesn't promise or mean that you will automatically be happy, but your chances, the opportunities presented to be happy, are slightly higher. So this is a viable option. Let us look at the others. Option B says, men cannot be happy without money because of the opportunities for happiness money brings. Option B is automatically out when we look at the context of the original and the context of option B. Option B is suggesting that our happiness depends solely on money. In actuality, option B is the opposite of the original, and as such, this would be eliminated. Option C says, there's no guarantee that money will increase man's chances of happiness. Now, when we examine option C, we see too that it would also be eliminated, as the option says or suggests that there is no chance that having money will increase your chance of happiness. Option D says more money will guarantee more opportunities for happiness. Option D is also out because it suggests that for one to be happy, they need to have more money in order to have more opportunities for happiness. A would be the equivalent of the original, which suggests that money does not guarantee happiness, but having money increases our chances. Now that you understand how to use the steps to identify the equivalent in an original, it is your time. Let's try these. You will respond by selecting members of your group or classmates. One person will read aloud the items and select their answer, and a second member or partner will respond by supporting or refuting the answer given, followed by an explanation. Let's try. Now that you're finished, let's compare your answers to my answers. Number 1 would be C. Number 2 would be A. Number 3 would be C. And number 4 would be B. Did you get them correct? Now that you have, it is time for us to move on to other items in equivalent sentences. This has taken us to the end of our video for today. Please remember to like this video, leave a comment, let me know what videos you want me to do. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This will help me out and encourage me to make more videos. Hit that good old notification bell so that you can be informed when a new video is posted like this, which it will. Until then, bye.